What's going on, boys? In today's video, we're going to be going over the muscle triangle. If your physique has not changed or leveled up in the last 3 to 6 months, it's not your genetics. Don't be blaming your genetics. It's not that you've hit a plateau. Don't assume that. It is the fact that your triangle is broken. And I'll show you the exact triangle I'm talking about right here. Again, we're going to call this the muscle growth triangle, or triangle for muscle growth, okay? So, in the middle here, we got exactly what is most important to us, okay? We're trying to get muscle growth. That is what the triangle is about. Again, it's triangle muscle growth. So there's going to be 3 points that go into achieving that common area, alright? The first is going to be, might as well switch these colors up, make it like cute, huh? The first pillar or corner or side of the triangle, whatever you want to call it, is going to be nutrition. This is going to be a key, fundamental part of getting the muscle growth you're going for, okay? This plays a huge role in training and growing and developing muscle, as we all know. I only got those 3 colors up here, so let me sneak back here, grab another one. Okay, these 2. We also got recovery over here on the other pillar for muscle growth, and at the top we got progressive overload. So the 3 things that are going to go into getting the muscle growth we want is going to be 1, nutrition, 2, recovery, and 3, progressive overload. These 3 things are essential. They got to work together in order to attain the desired outcome, which is muscle growth, right? And guys, the funny part is, picture this. If one side is weak, the whole triangle collapses and falls apart, okay? So pretend we'll put like a fake cross through recovery. Pretend we take out this corner of the triangle, boom, it's going to stumble down towards the right. If we take out the bottom left side of the triangle, this side collapses and it's going to come tumbling down. If we take out the top of the triangle, it's going to come crumbling from above down below. So one side, doesn't matter which one, if one side goes, the whole triangle collapses. The whole system is done for, okay? Alright, so the biggest problem I see with most people, with most men today, is that they have 1 or 2 of these dialed in pretty good, but without the third, they can't all work together to get the muscle growth they're going for, right? So when most people only focus on 1 or 2 and don't incorporate a third side of the triangles collapse. Just like I said, they're not going to get the muscle growth they're going for. So what we need to do is incorporate all 3 of these. An example might be someone is dialed in completely 100% locked in, all on their nutrition, and they're also completely dialed in 100% locked in on their recovery. So they're eating well, they're in a caloric surplus for muscle growth, they're also getting 10 hours of sleep per night. But the thing is, if they're not training for progressive overload, they're not going to get the muscle growth they desire. We'll just keep it short and simple. If they're training for progressive overload and their nutrition is on point, but they lack the recovery, they get 5 hours of sleep per night, they're not going to get muscle growth. They need the recovery. They need a full 8 hours of sleep per night. If they are getting all that sleep and they're focusing on progressive overload, but they lack the nutrition, it's not going to work. Each of these 3 pillars plays a massive role in getting muscle growth, okay? They all need to be hit, they all need to be locked in, they all need to be dialed in, they all need to be on point in order to achieve the level of muscle growth we're going for, in order to achieve muscle growth at all at the end of the day. This triangle right here, it either builds your dream physique or keeps you looking like you just lift a little bit, right? Muscle growth is a response to demand, and if the demands don't increase, the muscle has no reason to grow. For progressive overload, we're just going to write increase stimulus over time. Okay, and what do I mean by that? You're going to have to increase either weight, the weight you're pushing each week, reps, the reps you're pushing each week with that same weight, your total volume, your form. We're going for better form, obviously, and shorter rest periods. If we are increasing these each week, total volume, weights, reps, better form, or shorter rest, we are aiming for progressive overload. We're increasing the stimulus over time, which leads to progressive overload. That's exactly what progressive overloading is. But the sad truth is most guys lift the same weight. They lift the same weight for years, and that's why they're stuck. They don't see results. When I was first starting out, I would stick to the same program, and I would consistently hit the same number of reps, the same number of sets. I wouldn't really work on my form a whole lot. If I did work on something, it was probably the form over everything. But my reps, my volume, my weight was the same. So like I didn't really change my physique at all for the first like handful of months training. Actually, I take that back. My first year of lifting, I'd say I changed the most physically, and that's usually how it is for beginner lifters. Just because they're so new and fresh to it, their body's going to react pretty quickly. They're going to put on most of their size if they're doing it right, and then over time it's going to kind of taper off, and it's going to be harder to build. But there was a point where I wasn't increasing my weight, my reps, my volume, wasn't getting better form, I wasn't taking shorter rest periods, and I was stuck. I felt like I was plateaued. But again, it wasn't my genetics, it wasn't that I was plateaued, it was that my fucking triangle was broken. You guys know what I'm saying? So me, back in the day, when I first hit 225, I think I was quote unquote stuck there for like 2 to 3 months for, 3 to 5 reps, and I couldn't go up anymore because I wasn't focused on progressive overload. Sure, my nutrition might have been on point, my recovery might have been on point, I was getting all my calories in, I was hitting my macros good, I was recovering, I got my rest days, I got full 8 hours of sleep each night, but I wasn't progressive overloading during my workouts. I wasn't increasing the stimulus over time. I wasn't shooting for more weight, more reps, total volume, better form, and shorter rest periods, which in turn collapsed the whole triangle. I felt stuck, I felt plateaued. I wanted to blame my genetics, but nope. What am I gonna say? The triangle was just broken. Then you also got the people who are all about volume with no real intensity, right? You need volume and intensity to get the best equation, to get the best result. Loads of volume, but trash intensity is not going to equal the results you're looking for. So you need volume and you need intensity, not just one of the two. Write this somewhere up top here about progressive overload. Junk volume does not equal growth. The volume's got to be good. The volume's got to be intense. It's got to have good tension, good contractions, good time under tension, good control, good reps, shorter rest periods again. All right, for nutrition, how about this analogy? You can't build a house without the bricks, without the foundation. You can't build muscle without your calories or your proteins or your macros, right? Simple as that. You need your nutrition dialed in order to support your muscle growth. Most guys eat way too much, or they're scared to eat too much because they think like it's gonna be too big of a weight difference they're gonna put on, right? They think that eating more equals growth, but it's not just the amount of food you're putting in your body. It needs to be tracked. You need to hit your macronutrients in order to get the muscle growth. I mean, don't get me wrong, we can eat 5,000 calories a day and grow some muscle, but if it's outside of our macros, it's just gonna be dirty weight and not optimized weight, if that makes sense. Not optimized muscle, it's gonna come with a lot of fat. I would recommend being in a slight surplus pie. We'll just say for like an example here, 10% above your maintenance calories. So if you know your maintenance calories, you want to go 10% above that for your surplus, okay? Or 300 to 500 calories maybe for a slight surplus. And that's going to make sure that you are actually growing, because we need, as you guys know, we need to be in a caloric surplus in order to grow our muscles. That's just how it works. If you're not in a surplus, you're just spinning your wheels. You're not going anywhere. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to blame it on your genetics, and you're going to think you're plateaued. One of the non-negotiables on nutrition is going to be, drum roll. Non-negotiable under nutrition, that's going to be protein. You're going to want to aim for at least, at very minimum, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for example, I woke up, I think I was 186 US pounds this morning. I'm aiming for at least 186 grams of protein per day. But for me, right now, since I'm in a caloric deficit, summer's right around the corner, I'm trying to shred out and get fucking that crazy beach body. And I'm almost there, but give me a month when summer starts, I'll be totally there, I'm ready. Me being in a caloric deficit, shredding for summer, I'm aiming for like more like 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, because the more protein I have during my cut, the more muscle I'm gonna retain, right? Because being in a deficit and cutting fat, it's also gonna be easy for me to cut muscle with that if I'm not prioritizing my protein. So on my side, I'm aiming for more like 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, but for muscle growth, I aim for at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And of course, that's gonna be your recommended intake, your minimum intake every single day of the week, not just on days you work out, not just on rest days, but on both workout and rest days. You need at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I mean, just picture the guy who lifts hard. He lifts extremely hard. He's in the gym 5-6 days a week maybe, but all of his calories are coming from Chipotle and protein bars, and he's wondering why he's still stuck. Well, dude, because your nutrition's shit, right? You might be in a surplus, but your macros are shit. Or the guy who cuts forever, staying shredded year round, but he's also trying to grow muscle. It's quite impossible to do simultaneously. It's quite impossible to do simultaneously. I mean, it can be possible, but it's really difficult. It's really hard. And if you do manage to pull it off, you're either gonna cut very little fat or gain very little muscle. Like, you can't just have both exceptional levels of muscle and an exceptional low body fat at the same time. That's where gear comes in. That's why a lot of people take gear, because the highly desirable physique like that, a very small percentage of body fat and a very high percentage of muscle, it's very, very difficult to achieve naturally, okay? So, I'm just gonna like, I don't know, plus arrows. Plus signs and up arrows, meaning a surplus. Caloric surplus, again, 10% maintenance, or like 300 to 500 calories. I don't go much more over that, otherwise you're gonna get some fat gain on top. But a surplus, roughly 10% over your maintenance in nutrition, is gonna be necessary for muscle growth. Okay, you need to eat more calories than you're burning per day. And dude, I used to be the guy, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I still kinda am. I'm the ab chaser, right? I like being lean year round. I like having a six pack year round. I just like it. I feel good. I feel better. I feel healthier. I love taking my shirt off. I'm not scared. I have like no insecurities when I'm fucking chiseled and I got a tight, dry midsection, right? But when I stopped fearing fat gain, and started actually eating in a surplus and packed on muscle with it, not only eating in a surplus, but getting my 8 hours of sleep a night, getting at least 2 to 3 rest days per week, and training with progressive overload in high intensity and high volume, dude, like, I filled out, my muscles got bigger, my muscles grew, I filled out, and it appeared that I got leaner. Isn't that crazy how that works? So focus on all 3 of these and you're definitely guaranteed to hit muscle growth, and more likely than not, you will probably look leaner because you put on more muscle. And for recovery, you don't grow inside the gym. You work out in the gym, you train in the gym, you go hard in the gym, but that's not actually where you're growing. You're growing in this state right here. That's when your muscle, after it's broken down, is gonna repair and grow itself, okay? When you're sleeping your 8 hours a night, your muscle is rebuilding. Your muscle is growing there. When you take a rest day when you don't want to, your muscle is taking time to rebuild after you had broken down and annihilated it while you were training. This is where the real growth happens, not in the gym. You grow when you sleep, when you eat, and when you rest, which all fall under the recovery category. If you're training like a beast, but you're just sleeping 5 hours per night, you're not growing shit, okay? Your recovery is an essential building block of muscle growth again. One side collapses, they all come tumbling. They all gotta be on point, they all gotta be locked in. Dude, I could be in the gym, let's go extreme, like 5-6 days a week, going all out, progressive overloading, nutrition's on point. Again, but if I'm only sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night, my recovery ain't there. My muscle don't got time to grow and rebuild itself. So I'm constantly just tearing it down, and it's in the long run, it's actually gonna be to my disadvantage. Your cortisol is gonna stay high, you're gonna be stressed, your testosterone is gonna tank, your protein synthesis is going to slow down massively. And in the end of the equation, that is when your growth is going to die. Muscle growth is going to get cut out of the situation, or cut out of the equation. And it's funny that you ever heard rest is for the weak, or a lot of people saying like rest is for the weak. Nah, dude, rest is for the elite. If you want an elite body, if you want an elite next level physique, you need rest. Rest is for the elite, rest is not for the weak. I'm just gonna write, let's see. Sorry if my handwriting is trash, I'm kind of writing at an angle, but as you can see here, sleep equals anabolic. Guys, I really didn't start making real gains until my sleep every single night was on point. I'm talking 8 hours per night, non-negotiable. I filled out, my physique shot up, my shape changed dramatically, and I was like in the best conditioning, best shape of my life, when all 3 of these were locked in. But there was a time when I was that guy who was going twice a day maybe, or all 7 days a week. I actually started going 7 days a week after a couple months in, and not getting the best sleep, staying up all night, smoking a lot of weed, doing drugs, hanging out with some bad influences, hanging around the wrong people, the wrong crowd, binge watching Netflix, eating junk food, whatever. But just because my recovery, my sleep, and my training days were not optimized, I was not experiencing the growth I wanted. Again, any part of this triangle is gonna fall apart if one side is weak. I'll tell you what, muscle, damn right it's expensive. It doesn't come cheap. It takes effort and input from all sides of the triangle. It takes money, it takes sacrifice, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes consistency from all different pillars of the triangle to get results. If you want this, you master these. Okay, that's the only way you're gonna get it. Recovery, nutrition, progressive overload. If you're tired of spinning your wheels, bro, fix the triangle. Ask yourself right now, which sides are you currently neglecting? Because if you're not growing or changing physique-wise, I'll tell you what, one of these is being neglected. And I know that internally, inside, you're listening to me tell you this right now, and you're like, oh shit, he's right. This is which one I'm neglecting. Fix them all, get them all locked in, bro, and I promise you, you're going to see results. All right, for the closeout section, just for one last little visual, a couple things I want to leave you guys with. Boys, holy shit. I just got so lucky. I was writing out my final thoughts before I closed out this video, and I finished talking about what I wrote down. I go over here to stop it, and it's like, your memory card is full. So I don't know exactly when it cut out, and then I rewatched the video, and it cut out as I was erasing the board, which is so clutch. I literally got everything up until this point, so it's literally like perfect. Timing was impeccable, to say the least. But what I wanted to say before I closed out was, to wrap it up, I recommend eating at 10% above your maintenance level for calories, okay? And that's gonna relate to the nutrition category. Track all your lifts weekly. This is gonna fall into progressive overload. Your total volume, your weight, your reps, bettering your form, shortening your rest periods, okay? Sleeping 8 hours minimum. This is gonna fall into the recovery category. Sure, you can sleep 6 to 8 hours, but if you wanna really optimize this category, sleep for 8 hours. And then, protein, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight at least. This is gonna fall into and help aid in getting that muscle growth that we are desiring. So that's really all I got for you guys. I hope you found that somewhat valuable. If you have any questions, want to talk to me personally, chop it up, hit me up in the DMs on Instagram. My tag is at noah.wick. And I believe I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. I'll be filming another video. So until then, take care. We'll see you guys soon. Have a great weekend. And go hit the gym. Get off the fucking couch. Peace.